Hey team, and welcome back to Today I'm Growing. I'm so excited to have you here. We are talking about consistency today. A lot of you asked on Instagram when I asked you what's an episode you want to hear more about. And so many of you said, Anna, please talk about motivation, talk about consistency. And I think it's also that time of the year. It's getting dark, it's getting just cloudy and cold, and it's getting a little bit harder to find motivation and to be actually consistent, no matter if it's your workout routine or your work, business, career goals. It's a little bit harder to be disciplined and to show up every single day. Before we're going to dive into this topic, I want to reflect a little bit on the past days, on the week with you, because I feel like so many things happened. I shared a tiny bit in my Instagram stories, but not everything. But something I want to share with you, I had my first therapy session ever. I gave that advice to you that if you feel like you want to talk to someone about just different things that you want to talk about, that you should start reaching out to a therapist. And I did that over BetterHelp, betterhelp.com. I've heard so many times about it on YouTube from so many different YouTube creators. But I finally found the courage to sign up on BetterHelp, to reach out to a therapist, or let's say they give you a therapist. It was really easy, the whole process. You have to type in what your goals are. By the way, this is not a sponsored ad or anything. This is just something I personally think is such a great thing, and you should give it a try. But yeah, I got this therapist after typing in what I want to get out of it, and we had our first session. It was super interesting. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, months, what I learn about myself, about life, and I hope I can share many, many things with you. Other than that, life had been a little bit boring. There had been no events. There had been no crazy things. I was just living a normal every single day life. But at the same time, for example, yesterday, I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, I had my first self-care day. And this is also something I highly recommend to do, like once a week. Just have a day off, have a self-care day, do something that feels right for you, that makes you feel better. I did a little city trip. So first I went to a workout class. I had an amazing lunch. We went to a Japanese restaurant. It was so yummy. It was so good. And then later we went out for a little shopping trip. I bought a really cute hair clip. And that was it. But it was so needed. It was so good. And today I feel like a new person. I have so much more energy. And I think that's all because I had a balanced day yesterday. I made something to be in balance and just something for myself. So, consistency, guys. Give me 1 second. I just have a sip of coconut water today. So every single time, I told you when I record a podcast episode, I'm going to make some special drinks. Today it's actually pretty late. I don't drink coffee right now because then I can't sleep later. But I have coconut water because like a half an hour ago, I went to a supermarket, to an Asian supermarket. You need to know we are going to South Korea, to Seoul, really soon. I think on the 6th or 7th of November. I'm going to go with Juju. So when I say we, I'm talking about Juju. Juju is the girl behind the camera. So she's helping me with all the content that we create on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. However, we are going to Seoul. And I went to this Asian supermarket today to check out different kind of foods they have, and I just want to get into the right mood. I want to get inspired already. But yeah, I was so overwhelmed. Oh my god, I just bought kimchi. I bought 3 types of sriracha sauce because I'm so obsessed with sriracha, and I bought coconut water. I thought that's the best perfect drink that I can have right now to record this podcast episode. Yeah, I'm gonna have a sip and then we're gonna jump into today's episode, which I'm so excited to talk about. Yum. It's sweet. It is refreshing. It is really good. Okay, team, let's talk consistency. Why do I want to talk about it? Why do I think it's a cool topic to talk about? I think after listening to this podcast episode, you will definitely want to be more disciplined. You will want to be more disciplined. You will be inspired. You will be motivated. And yeah, like all the people we look up to, no matter if it's actors, sports people, maybe it's a YouTuber you look up to or another creator, they all talk about consistency. They all talk about you have to be consistent if you want to be at a certain level, if you want to reach a goal. And yeah, that's already it. If you want to reach a goal, guys, no matter what goal you have to be consistent. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later, what kind of goals you have, how to set a goal and how to reach it. But yeah, it really, really is about consistency, no matter if you want to reach a goal physically, mentally, if you want to learn something new, if you want to grow in all areas of life, you have to show up over and over again. You have to be consistent. I have seen this quote yesterday that I want to share with you. All right, listen. It's a simple rule of life that whatever you practice, you will improve at. And oh my God, this quote opened my eyes because that's what I've learned in the past 28 years. Every time when I wanted to reach a goal, when I wanted to learn something, I had to practice. And it was not about practicing it one day or 2 days. It was about practicing it over and over again. The best example that just crossed my mind right now is speaking English. My normal language, my mother language is German. But by practicing English, by practicing the vocabulary, by listening to other people speaking English over and over again, by practicing it over and over again, my English improved. And oh my God, I can just record a podcast in English right now. That is, for me, it is pretty insane. And it also had been the exact same with my fitness journey. When I was really skinny and when I felt really weak and when I wanted to build muscle, I also used this principle of consistency. I started to train with weights. I started to do exercises that are building muscle. I started to eat a little bit more, but I didn't try. Okay, that is a lie. I did try the really, really first time. I did try to do it all in 1 week, or at least that was something I wanted to have, but it didn't work. But over the years, I showed up every single time, and it really helped me to grow muscle, to grow strength, and to grow physically, but also mentally. One last example that I want to share with you, because I know some of you are really inspired by creating content, by filming YouTube videos, just the YouTube career in general. It had been the exact same. I grew my YouTube channel from 0 subscribers to 4 million by being consistent, by uploading videos over and over again. And if you're more interested into the whole YouTube career, I started by uploading a video every single day, which was pretty intense. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't do it again. But at the beginning, it also helped me. So for this certain amount of time, it really helped me to grow fast on YouTube. But long term, to be consistent in that kind of extreme, it wouldn't work. So what I did, I cut back on 3 YouTube videos a week. Now I'm at 2 YouTube videos a week, but I'm consistent. And I don't want to stop on YouTube. I just upload 2 videos a week. If you want to reach a goal, you have to show up over and over again. I'm 100% sure you have heard about the saying, consistency is key. And it actually is the truth. So I'm not going to lie, it is the truth. No matter what your goal is, if you want to run a marathon, that had been a goal that many of you texted me. That's why I wanted to point it out. But maybe it's learning a new instrument, building a business. Consistency is key, team. So how to be consistent? It sounds so easy, right? I'm talking about it as if it would be the easiest thing, but no, unfortunately it isn't. It's not easy, I'm not gonna lie. So we have to talk about how can we make it a little bit easier to be consistent with something. The number one thing that I highly recommend you to do is setting a goal. Set a goal, team. Set your goal. Don't look at other people. Don't look what other people are doing. Really take your time, no matter how long it takes. It can also take an hour. It can take a whole day. It can take a whole week to really figure out what you want, what your goal is, and then write it down. I highly recommend to write it down by hand. Write it on a piece of paper, or do it I don't know if it's an extreme way, but right now I'm sitting here in my bedroom, and maybe one day I'm going to show you on YouTube, Instagram, or I don't know, wherever I can share. And I'm looking at my vision board. I'm looking at my vision board that I started a few weeks ago. It's not completely done yet, but at least at the category career, it's almost finished. I have a lot of images there. I have a lot of words there, some motivational quotes. So my vision, my goal is really, really clear, and it's visible in front of me. So the first thing when I wake up, when I open my eyes, is this vision board. Try it. Maybe it sounds a little bit too extreme for you. Maybe it's not for you, then it's also okay. But if you are like me, if you tick the same way that I tick, then you love things like that. You love vision boards. You need that in your life, then try it. It is so cool. Honestly, it motivates me every single day to work on my goals. I have pretty crazy goals there, but I do think it's possible to reach those goals. And yeah, dream big. That's all I can say. I think the sky is the limit and you only have this one life. So why not dreaming big and work on big things? I think we all have the potential. We all have the choice. We can all make the same choice every single day to dream big and to work big. No, to work hard to achieve those big goals. You know who really inspired me to dream big and to write down my goals and to make a vision board? It was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he also recorded a podcast with Jay Shetty. Highly recommend this podcast. It's really cool. But also in older videos, he talked a lot about having a vision, having a clear goal. And he really inspired me to sit down and really think about it and to listen to my vision and my goal, and don't look at others. Don't look at what all the other people are doing, because I have my own life. I have my own goals and I want to do everything I can to work on them. One thing Arnold Schwarzenegger is always talking about that I found also really interesting is that he says so many people in this world don't have a clear goal. They don't have a vision. And that is so true. I think so many people don't know where they are going in life. And to me, that's just, it's impossible to think like that. If I don't know where I'm going, if I don't know what I'm working towards to, I don't know, I would feel so empty. Maybe a lot of people feel really empty and they don't have something where they wake up every single day and are super excited to work on. But yeah, I found it so interesting when he said that. And I don't want to be one of those people. I really want to be one of the people having clear goals, having something to look forward to, and just having something to work on every single day and something that excites me every single day. One more time, no matter which goal you have, I do think you have the potential to reach your goal. I do think you have the choice to work on this goal and to make everything happen. The next thing, once you have figured out what your goal is, what your future is going to look like, the next thing you're going to do is make a plan. And everything we're talking about right now, every time when I talk about your future or making a plan, I'm talking about long-term things. I'm talking about make a long-term plan. Everything you try to get in a short amount of time, it is possible. Yes, you can reach and get a lot of things in a short amount of time, but is it sustainable? Is it going to make you successful long term? I don't think so. So when I say make a plan, think long term. And break it down into like really tiny little steps, tiny bits. This is super important because having a crazy goal can feel overwhelming and it can feel impossible to reach. But if you break it down into smally, tiny little things, it looks like so much easier. I talked about this in the last episode when I talked about habits. If you want something, but it will definitely take you 10 years, then if you think about it, 10 years, it sounds damn like way too long. You don't want to wait 10 years to get something. But if you break it down into small, tiny little things and you see clearly on your plan that, okay, in the first year, I will get this, in the second year, this, and I will work towards the 10-year goal, you break it down into smaller things. As I said, it will motivate you to really keep going, keep working, and boom, 10 years will be over, as sad as it sounds, but 10 years will be over and you will be so much closer to your goal. Maybe you're already there. Maybe you're already there after 9 years. Who knows? But yeah, break it down into small, tiny little bits. Looking long term always had been the hardest thing for me. I remember, especially starting my fitness journey, my number one goal when I started my fitness journey had been losing weight. I wanted to be super slim and super skinny, and I tried everything to get there in a short amount of time. I did the exact same when I wanted to gain weight and grow muscle. I always was looking for the shortcut, always. And now looking back, what I would tell my younger self is like, please take your time. It will all take time, but giving yourself time and working on your goal step by step in tiny little bits and not trying to do everything in like a few days or a few weeks, it will help you so much, and it will not cause the amount of stress, the amount of anxiety, the isolation that I think I got myself into. It's a lonely place if you are really extreme, and if you are one of the black or white thinkers and you think either I go extreme and all in or I will not achieve anything. It's a lonely place and it's a dark place, and I don't recommend it. I know that many of you want to lose weight or want to even gain weight, but this is my number one advice to team. Don't try to do it in a short amount of time. There are so many diets, there are so many 6-week workout programs out there. Don't try to change your whole life, or don't try to change your body within 6 weeks. And then after the 6 weeks, you're like, okay, done. I maybe reached my goal, but that was it. You will fall back. And I'm sure you have heard about the yo-yo effect, but that's going to happen if you try to be extreme in like 6 weeks, but then you go back to old habits. Yeah, you will not be happy long term. You will not be able to live a healthy, happy, strong, fit lifestyle if you go extreme, but then you're like, okay, I'm done, back to old habits. So on one side, there's consistency. On the other side, there is intensity. And when I talk about consistency, I talk about long-term things. I talk about something that will take some time. And I know it's not so motivating first if you think about doing something for 6 years instead of 6 weeks, instead of doing something extreme and going all in. But in the long run, I promise that consistency will make you happier, healthier, and will help you grow in all areas of life. All right, step 1, I told you to set a goal, to have a clear goal. I hope you've already written it down, or you wrote down somewhere that you want to do it later. We talked about make an action plan. So write down what you actually have to do to get there. And now comes the hardest part. Now comes the part of action. Now you have to do where most people fail. Now you have to take the action to actually get closer to your goal, to actually get closer to whatever you want to do in life. And let me also tell you, that's where most people fail. Me included. I failed many, many times. I'm also procrastinating sometimes. I love to write. I love to write things down. I love to plan. I love to, for example, when it comes to content, make mood boards. But sometimes then I'm procrastinating and I'm not actioning it. The same with this podcast. I would have started this podcast years ago. I have had already so many ideas. I was sitting down, I was writing down all the ideas. Same on YouTube, but I was not actioning it. I had just a lot of great ideas. I was writing them down, but then I failed at the hardest part, which is actually doing it. The one tip I have for you here is do it. Action. You have to get up. Nobody's pushing you there. You have to do it. And I can give you one tip here for all my perfectionists here, because I'm also a little bit of a perfectionist. Okay, that's not the truth. I'm a lot of a perfectionist, even though I got so much better. Yeah, I got a lot better. But I always tried to do everything perfect, and it stopped me in so many areas of life. It stopped me doing so many things that I wanted to do. And if you struggle with the exact same thing, let me tell you, life is not perfect, and you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to try to do everything perfect. It's not going to work. You just stop yourself. You don't have to be perfect. Nothing is perfect, and nobody will notice that it's not going to be perfect. For others, everything that you do will be perfect. So stop worrying about trying to do everything perfect. I don't recommend it. Me, myself included, it's also something I struggle with. But most of the time, trying to do everything perfect, it's actually being insecure about something. It's thinking about what other people think of you. Maybe you're scared of judgment of others. Maybe you were scared to fail. But damn, that leads me to the next thing. When you're actioning it, you will fail, guys. Like, no matter what you try to do, you will show up consistent, you will work hard, you will definitely fail. Let me tell you, yes, you will fail. But does that mean you're a failure? Hell no. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to do everything perfect and allow yourself to fail. To fail with your workout routine, to fail at school, at work. It is okay. I don't know why we learn at a young age in school that it's not okay to fail. I don't know, because that is such a normal part of life. And every time when I had been at my lowest because I failed at something, there was definitely something I could use for learning. I learned something every time when I failed, and it helps me to grow in so many areas of life. So you will fail. You will skip a workout. You will skip an acting class. You will be sick sometimes. You will travel and you can't stick to your action plan. Like, things happen in life. Or maybe your hormones. That is the best example for all the girls here. You can't always control your hormones, and sometimes it is how it is, and you don't have energy for anything, and that is okay. That is life. So what I want to say is, you will fail, you have to accept it, but that doesn't mean you are a failure. Definitely not. I do have a few tips here. First of all, just don't judge yourself and don't be so hard on yourself. That's the number one tip when it comes to failing. The next one is, let's say you want to work out every single day, or you have like a workout plan and it's 5 days a week and you skipped day 5. What to do? First of all, don't feel bad. It is how it is. Maybe on that day when you really don't feel like doing this workout or you don't have time, maybe you can do anything instead. So let's say you have a 60-minute workout planned, but maybe you can go on a 10-minute walk. Maybe that is okay. And you do your 60-minute workout tomorrow, or you skip it completely and do it tomorrow. I think skipping a workout 1 day is fine. Skipping it 2 days or longer, then you might get out of your routine. You get out of consistency. But if you're healthy and you have the time, skipping a workout 1 day it's not going to ruin your process. But skipping it for 2 days and 3 days and so on, that's going to ruin your process. So if you make it a habit to fail, that's going to ruin your process. But failing and skipping it one time, nothing will happen, I promise. Talking about skipping a workout one time, that doesn't mean, for example, when you're sick, when you're really sick and you have to skip your whole workout routine for a whole week. So that is not the same. That's not what I mean. It's okay to skip a workout one day, but it's not okay to skip a workout 2 days when you're sick and your body is telling you to skip your workouts for a whole week. So when your body is actually telling you that, then also a whole week is totally okay. Listen to your body, guys. And don't push yourself into something that makes everything worse. So if your body gives you signs, or if life gives you signs to skip something for longer, then it's something totally different. But just because you don't have the motivation or you don't want to, that's what I mean if I say it's not okay to skip a workout 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and so on. I hope it makes sense. You have to show up. You have to do the hard work. That's sometimes not fun. But that will make you reach your goals. That will make you separate you from the rest that don't have goals, don't work on goals. And I don't judge anyone for not having goals. Definitely not. But if you are one of the people who want to do something different, who want to grow a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger and be successful, whatever successful means to you, then yeah, you have to show up. You have to show up more than once. You have to show up more than twice. You have to show up over and over again. Showing up a lot of times, showing up every single day can be quite stressful and quite overwhelming. It can feel quite uncomfortable. So when I talk about showing up and working hard, I really mean that. But don't forget about one thing and don't underestimate one thing. Taking care of yourself. And maybe that's also something that you have to look at in a way of like showing up for yourself. So I want you, when you make your action plan actually what you have to do to reach your goals, plan the hard work, but also plan the hard rest. It is the same principle with working out. Being in the gym for 3 hours might be better than being in the gym for 3 minutes. But being in the gym 3 hours every day, pushing yourself to the absolute limit and not allowing yourself to rest, maybe it's going to work for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but you will burn yourself out. And when you have reached that, when you have reached this feeling of you burned out, then maybe you have to end everything. And then all the hard work you put into before, it's like for nothing. So you have to be a little bit strategic about that. You have to put yourself first and your health first and your mental health first. You have to take care of yourself, guys. And you have to put this in your action plan the exact same way as the hard work. And don't feel guilty on those days. Self-care days are important too. And remember at the beginning of this podcast episode, I talked about my self-care day yesterday. You know, my work, it's so easy to work from everywhere. It's so easy to work all the time. I'm self-employed. I could literally work 24 hours and not be done because there are always more ideas. There are always more videos that I could film, more podcasts that I could record, or more things that I could write down and make a content piece out of it. It's so easy to work all the time. And I think that's why it's even more important to set into my action plan also some self-care days and some off time. I wish I would be a better example because I have to force myself and just remind myself, I think that's a better word, all the time to also take care of myself and allow myself to rest without feeling guilty. Take a day off without feeling guilty. Oh my God, I felt guilty yesterday because I was not answering WhatsApp messages immediately because I was not creating any content. I felt a little bit guilty, but that's just not the point. Like, it is okay to take a day off and in 1 week you already forgot it again. But I promise after this day off, you will feel more balanced and you will feel just more productive again, and you're excited again to work hard. You know what I mean? And that's also for working out. I really mean that when I say work out and work hard, but rest harder. Your muscles, like if you push them every single day, you also have to give them some time to recover. Have you ever heard about that the muscles are actually growing in recovery time? That's the coolest and best example right now. So you work out really, really hard, but your muscles, if you want to grow them, if you want to get a little bit stronger, then you actually need the recovery time, because otherwise they won't repair and they won't grow. I do think some of you can relate when I talk about getting bored really, really fast. I definitely get bored really, really fast. I'm changing a lot of things when I get bored. For example, my workout routine. Oh my God, I have changed it already so many times. I've changed my career a few times, I would say. I've changed my content many, many times. So I get bored really fast. And that's actually a little bit like the enemy if you want to reach a goal and if you want to be consistent, because it will get boring. I'm not going to lie. Being consistent sometimes is really, really boring. Because if you have to do something and practice something, learn something every single day, it can get boring. And I want to talk about this because, first of all, I think getting bored is normal. So we all have to be okay with it. Sometimes we have to admit that we have to push through, that we have to do the boring work in order to reach our goals. So when you feel bored, I want you to remember that it's okay, that everyone who is super successful, who has reached incredible goals, at one point they also felt really, really bored, but they pushed through and they didn't give up. So that's also something we always have to remind ourselves. When I feel bored, I like to just look up to my role models. And what I do when I feel bored or when I feel stuck and I just don't want to do the work, what I love to do is watching motivational podcasts or YouTube videos. There are so many cool motivational talks, and some of them are like really epic. Maybe you know what I'm talking about, with like epic music and motivational talks. I love those. So I watch one of these and then they remind me of like, okay, you have to put in the hard work and the boring work right now to get the work done. And yeah, I just want you to remind yourself to not give up just because you're bored today. Don't give up. You have to put in the work right now. You have to accept that it's boring sometimes. Just push through. Just keep going. Remind yourself that this is part of the process. And last but not least, team, the process. Let me tell you, you have to fall in love with the process instead of falling in love with the results when you work towards your goal. And what I mean by that is, let's say you are a writer and you want to write. Then your goal might be to have a #1 bestseller book. You shouldn't focus on the result of like having this #1 best-selling book. You should really focus on the process. And what I mean by that is writing. So you have to fall in love with writing. You have to love every single day writing your 5 pages, 10 pages. You have to fall in love with the actual action that you're doing. Let's say you want to start a YouTube channel and you want to have 1 million subscribers. You shouldn't fall in love with this 1 million subscriber number. You should fall in love with filming and editing and writing a script, writing something that you want to film. The actual work, that is what you have to fall in love with. The exact same with working out and fitness. If your goal is to lose 5 kilograms of weight, yeah, it can feel amazing once you have reached that goal and once you see the result. But I want you to fall in love with the actual process. I want you to fall in love with a healthy lifestyle, with the healthy food that gives you energy, that nourishes your body, with exercising. Fall in love with the process. And yeah, that was my last thing of today's podcast episode. I'm sure you didn't even notice, but today I struggled a bit with the equipment, my camera. The battery was empty, so I had to change it. But I'm sure when I edit it out, or my editor will edit it out, you won't even notice. But yeah, I just want to share some background stories with you, or behind the scenes stories with you, that not everything is working super easy and super perfect all the time. Yeah, team, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I would love to read some feedback from you. So when you listened until the end, I would love to read from you. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, text me on Instagram, on the Growing Ananas channel. That would mean the world to me. It would also mean the world to me if you give this podcast a rating. So you can give it a rating, give it some stars. Of course, I would love to have 5 stars from you. But yeah, be honest, rate the podcast. It would mean the world to me. It would also mean the world to me if you subscribe to this podcast. I hope that's how you say it on the podcast. But yeah, subscribe to this podcast channel. That will help it grow. And by saying that, thank you so much, Team Grow, for listening to this episode. And I hope I chat to you soon again. Have a great day. Have a great night. See you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.